Jake Morrison wiped the grease from his hands and looked out the window of the spacecraft. He could see the planet below, glowing with a strange blue light. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. He had never imagined he would be here, so far from Earth, heading toward an alien world. He was just a mechanic, a guy who fixed things. He worked with engines and wires and broken equipment. He was not supposed to be part of this historic mission. But here he was, on the horizon's edge, the first human diplomatic ship to visit the Valkyrie homeworld. The ship's captain had needed extra crew members at the last minute. 3 mechanics got sick right before launch, and Jake got the call. He said yes, without thinking. Now, 3 months later, he wondered if that was a mistake. He felt completely out of place among the diplomats and scientists who filled the ship. The planet grew larger in the window. Jake could see cities that looked like they were made of light itself. Towers that twisted and curved in ways that seemed impossible. The Valkyrie were an advanced species, much more advanced than humans. They had technology that Earth could only dream about. All crew members, prepare for landing, a voice announced over the speakers. Jake hurried to his station and strapped himself in. His heart was beating fast. He had seen pictures of the Valkyrie, but pictures were different from real life. They looked humanoid, but taller and thinner. Their skin glowed with patterns that changed color. Some humans found them beautiful, others found them strange. Jake did not know what he thought yet. The ship landed smoothly in a massive landing area. Through the windows, Jake could see hundreds of Valkyrie waiting to greet them. They wore long, flowing clothes that seemed to shimmer and move like water. Guards stood at attention with weapons that looked more like works of art than tools of war. The diplomats went first, of course. Jake and the other crew members were told to wait. He watched on a monitor as the human ambassador stepped out to meet the Valkyrie leaders. There was a tall male Valkyrie who spoke first. The translator device made his words come through in English. "Welcome to our world," the Valkyrie leader said. "We hope this meeting will bring our people together in peace and friendship." The ambassador gave a similar speech. Jake found it boring. All the formal words and careful phrases. He understood why they were necessary, but he was more interested in looking at the Valkyrie people in the background. Then he saw her. She stood slightly behind the main group of leaders. Her skin was a silver-blue color, and the glowing patterns on her arms and face pulsed with a soft light. She was tall, even for a Valkyrie, and she held herself with perfect posture. But it was her eyes that caught Jake's attention. They were large and intelligent, and they seemed to be watching everything with careful attention. "That's Princess Lyria," someone whispered next to him. It was Danny, another mechanic, third in line to their throne. I read about her in the briefing files. Jake could not look away. The princess was listening to the speeches, but he could see a slight expression on her face. Was it boredom? Amusement? It was hard to tell with alien features. But something about her made her seem more real than the other formal figures. The ceremony continued for another hour. More speeches, more formal greetings, more careful diplomatic language. Finally, the crew members were allowed to leave the ship. They were given rooms in a building near the palace. It was an honor. Apparently, most visitors stayed in the regular city. Jake carried his small bag through hallways that seemed to be made of smooth white stone that glowed from within. Everything was so clean and perfect. He felt very aware of his worn work clothes and the calluses on his hands. A Valkyrie guide led him to his room. "You will stay here," the guide said through the translator. "The diplomatic quarters are very close. You are honored to be near the palace." The room was simple but comfortable. There was a bed that adjusted to his body when he sat on it. A window looked out over a garden filled with plants that glowed in the darkness. Jake set down his bag and rubbed his face. He was exhausted. The time difference and the long journey had worn him out. He did not bother to unpack. He just kicked off his boots and fell onto the bed. It was incredibly comfortable, like sleeping on a cloud. Within minutes, he was asleep. He did not know that Valkyrie walls were thinner than human walls. He did not know that sound carried easily through them. He did not know that the room next to his belonged to Princess Lyria herself, who had come back to her chambers early because she was tired of the formal ceremonies. And he definitely did not know that he talked in his sleep. Jake dreamed about the ceremony. In his dream, he was watching Princess Lyria again. But this time, the speeches were different. He could hear what she was thinking. Not just what the leaders were saying. "She's so smart," he mumbled in his sleep. The way she was listening to everything. "I bet she understands all this political stuff way better than I do." In the next room, Lyria had been reading when she heard the voice. At first, she thought someone was in the hallway. But no, it was coming from the wall. From the human quarters next door. She stood and moved closer to the wall, curious. The Valkyrie had excellent hearing. Much better than humans knew. "Humans are so lucky," Jake's sleeping voice continued. "Getting to meet someone like her. She probably knows so much. I bet she has amazing ideas." Lyria's glowing patterns flickered. This was unexpected. She pressed her hand against the wall, listening more carefully. "And she's beautiful," Jake mumbled. "Like, really beautiful. Most beautiful person I've ever seen. Human or alien or whatever. Those patterns on her skin. The way she stands. Everything." Lyria's patterns changed from their usual blue to a brighter, more rapid pulse. In Valkyrie culture, this indicated surprise and amusement. She covered her mouth with her hand, trying not to laugh out loud. The human was talking in his sleep. About her. Saying such honest, unfiltered things. "I hope I don't embarrass Earth," Jake's voice said. "I'm just a mechanic. I fix things. I'm not supposed to be here with all these important people. But maybe I can do something useful. Maybe I can help somehow." Lyria listened for several more minutes as the human's sleep-talking continued. He rambled about engines and repairs, about his nervousness, about hoping he would not mess anything up. And several more times, he mentioned her. Each time, with the same honest admiration. Finally, the talking stopped. The human had fallen into a deeper sleep. Lyria stood by the wall for a long moment, her patterns still pulsing with amusement. In her world, people were always so careful with their words. Every conversation was measured and formal, especially around royalty. People told her what they thought she wanted to hear, not what they actually thought. But this human, this sleeping mechanic, had just told her exactly what he thought. With no filter, no careful diplomatic language, no attempt to impress or manipulate. Just pure, honest thoughts. She found it absolutely fascinating. And, though she would not admit it to anyone yet, she found it charming. Lyria returned to her bed, but she did not read anymore. She lay there, thinking about the sleeping human next door. Tomorrow, she decided, she would introduce herself properly. She wanted to meet this honest, rambling human who fixed things and said such kind words when he did not know anyone could hear. A small smile crossed her face, and her patterns glowed with a warm golden color. This diplomatic mission had just become much more interesting. Jake woke up slowly, feeling more rested than he had in weeks. The bed was amazing, and for a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he opened his eyes and saw the glowing ceiling above him. And everything came rushing back. He was on an alien planet. In a building near the royal palace. Part of the most important diplomatic mission in human history. He sat up quickly and checked the time on his small device. It was morning, local time. He had slept for almost 10 hours straight. He never slept that long. Jake got up and looked for a bathroom. The Valkyrie had provided one that was adapted for human use. The water was warm and felt normal, which was a relief. He washed his face and tried to make himself look presentable. His brown hair stuck up in several directions, and he had not shaved in 2 days. He looked like exactly what he was, a tired mechanic who did not belong here. He got dressed in his cleanest work clothes. Navy blue pants, and a gray shirt with the Earth mission patch on the shoulder. It was not fancy, but it was all he had. The diplomats got to wear nice suits. The crew members got work uniforms. Jake was about to leave his room to find some breakfast when he heard a knock on his door. He opened it and froze. Princess Lyria stood in the hallway. She was even more impressive up close. Taller than him by several inches. Her silver-blue skin seemed to shimmer in the light. The glowing patterns on her arms and face pulsed in a steady, calm rhythm. She wore a long robe that changed colors as she moved. Her large eyes looked directly at him, with an expression he could not quite read. "Hello," she said. The translator device on her wrist made her words come out in perfect English. "You are Jake Morrison, yes?" Jake's brain had stopped working. He stood there with his mouth slightly open, trying to form words. A princess was at his door. An actual alien princess. Talking to him. Yes, he finally managed. "I'm Jake. How did you... why are you... hello." Lyria's patterns flickered in a way that he would later learn meant she was amused. "May I come in? I would like to speak with you." "Sure. Yes. Of course." Jake stepped back quickly, almost tripping over his own feet. "Sorry. The room is a mess. It's not really a mess. I just got here yesterday, and I haven't." "It is fine," Lyria said, entering the room. She looked around with interest. "These quarters are suitable for you?" "They're great. Really great. Best room I've ever stayed in." Jake closed the door and stood awkwardly, not sure what to do with his hands. Can I ask why you're here? Did I do something wrong? Is there a problem with the ship?" Lyria turned to face him. Her patterns pulsed with that same flickering light. "I heard you last night." Jake's heart sank. "Heard me? Did I make too much noise? I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to disturb anyone. I can be quieter. I promise." No, not noise." Lyria paused. And if Jake did not know better, he would think she looked amused. "You talk in your sleep." The world seemed to stop moving. Jake felt his face get hot. He talks in his sleep. He had forgotten about that. His old roommate on Earth used to complain about it all the time, and last night, he had been so tired, he just crashed without thinking about it. "Oh no," he said quietly. "What did I say?" Lyria's patterns changed to a brighter, faster pulse. "Many things. You said I was smart, that I was good at understanding politics, that humans were lucky to meet me." Jake wanted to disappear into the floor. His face was burning now. "I am so sorry. That was inappropriate. I didn't mean to. I was asleep. I didn't know what I was saying. Please don't think all humans are like this. You also said I was beautiful," Lyria continued. Her voice was calm, but something in it made him look up. "The most beautiful person you had ever seen, human or alien." If Jake's face was hot before, it was on fire now. He could not believe this was happening. His first full day on the alien planet. And he had already offended royalty by sleep-talking about her. He was probably going to cause an international incident. They would send him home in disgrace. Maybe they would put him in alien jail first. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I have this problem where I talk in my sleep, and I can't control it. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I'll request a room change immediately, somewhere far away from everyone important. Maybe in a different building, or a different city." Then Lyria did something Jake did not expect at all. She laughed. It was a musical sound, light and genuine. Her patterns lit up with a golden glow that spread across her skin like waves. She actually bent forward slightly, laughing at him. Jake stood there, completely confused. Instead, she was laughing like it was the funniest thing she had ever heard. "You find this amusing?" he asked carefully. "Very amusing," Lyria said, her laughter fading but her patterns still glowing gold. "In my culture, we value directness and honesty." But everyone around me is always so careful with their words. They say what they think I want to hear. They measure every sentence. It is exhausting. And all. She walked closer to him, her eyes bright with interest. But you, asleep and unaware, said exactly what you thought. No filter. No political calculation. Just honest thoughts. Honest, embarrassing thoughts, Jake said weakly. Honest, kind thoughts, Lyria corrected. She tilted her head slightly. Tell me, Jake Morrison, who fixes things, do you really think I am smart? Jake swallowed hard. There was no point in lying now. Yes. I watched you during the ceremony yesterday. Everyone else was just standing there looking formal, but you were actually paying attention to everything. I could see it in your eyes. You were thinking and analyzing and probably understanding stuff that went completely over my head. Lyria's patterns pulsed with that violet color, though Jake did not know what it meant. And do you really think I am beautiful? This was the most awkward conversation Jake had ever had. But something about the way she asked, direct, and curious, made him answer honestly. Yes, I've never seen anyone like you. Do 3 life. End quote. The way your patterns move, the way you carry yourself. You're incredible. They stood in silence for a moment. Jake was sure he had just made everything worse. But Lyria's patterns kept glowing with warm colors. I like you, Jake Morrison, she said finally. You are refreshing. I spend all my time with diplomats and advisors, and people who tell me carefully constructed sentences. But you, even awake, speak honestly. It's gotten me in trouble before, Jake admitted. I am tired of formal ceremonies and political talk, Lyria said. I want to see the human ship. I want to understand your technology. Will you show me? Jake blinked. You want me to show you the ship? Don't you have, like, official tours planned with the important people? I do not want an official tour. I want to see the real ship, the engines, the systems, the parts that actually matter. Can you show me this? I'm just a mechanic. I fix things. I'm not supposed to give tours to princesses. Lyria's patterns flickered with amusement again. I am third in line to the throne. My older brother and sister handle the important political duties. I have more freedom than they do. Number 3. And the seam tel midi. And I want to use that freedom to learn real things, not just attend ceremonies. She looked at him steadily. So, will you show me your ship? Jake thought about all the rules he was probably breaking. Then he thought about how the most interesting person he had met in years was asking him for help. How she seemed genuinely interested in what he did. How she laughed instead of getting offended when he embarrassed himself. Yeah, he said. I'll show you the ship. Lyria's patterns lit up with bright gold again. Excellent. When can we go? Now, if you want. The diplomats will be in meetings all morning. The ship should be quiet. Perfect. She moved toward the door, then paused and looked back at him. Jake Morrison, I hope you know that you will probably talk in your sleep again. These walls are thin. Jake groaned. I'll try to stay awake forever. Lyria laughed again. Do not do that. I found it entertaining. I may want to hear what else you say. Taps. She left the room, and Jake stood there for a moment, trying to process what had just happened. An alien princess had heard him talk about her in his sleep, laughed about it, and now wanted to be friends. His life had just gotten very, very strange. Jake led Princess Lyria through the corridors toward the landing area where the horizon's edge sat. He kept expecting someone to stop them, to ask what a mechanic was doing escorting royalty around. But the few Velkari they passed simply bowed to Lyria and let them continue. Does anyone ever tell you no? Jake asked, as they walked. My father does. My older siblings do. But most other people do not. Is that difficult for humans to understand? A little. On Earth, we have some important people, but we don't really have royalty anymore. Not like you do, anyway. How do you choose your leaders then? We vote. The people choose who they want to represent them. Lyria's patterns pulsed thoughtfully. That sounds complicated. What if the people choose poorly? Jake laughed. That happens sometimes. But then, we get to choose someone different. Next time. They reached the ship's entrance. Jake used his access code to open the door. Inside, the horizon's edge was quiet. Most of the crew was either in meetings or exploring the city. Only a few maintenance workers were aboard, and they were on different levels. This is the main corridor, Jake explained, leading her inside. The diplomatic areas are up front. The crew quarters are in the middle, and the engine room and mechanical systems are in the back. That's where I work most of the time. Lyria touched the walls as they walked, feeling the human metal and composites. Your materials are different from ours. Heavier. More dense. We don't have the advanced stuff you do. We have to make things tougher to make up for it. It is not better or worse. Just different. She looked at him. Will you show me the engines? I want to understand how your ship travels. Jake felt a small surge of pride. Finally, something he actually knew well. He led her to the engine room, explaining things as they walked. Our faster-than-light drive is still pretty new. We only developed it 20 years ago. It's nothing compared to yours, but it got us here. The engine room was Jake's favorite place on the ship. It was warm and smelled like machine oil and ozone. The massive drive core hummed in the center, surrounded by systems and monitors. To most people, it looked like chaos. To Jake, it was beautiful. Lyria stepped into the room, and her patterns lit up with what Jake was starting to recognize as excitement. Show me everything. For the next 2 hours, Jake explained how the human engines worked. He showed her the power distribution systems, the cooling mechanisms, the safety backups. At first, he tried to keep his explanations simple, worried that he would bore her or use too much technical language. But Lyria asked detailed questions that showed she understood complex concepts easily. Your power conversion is inefficient here, she said, pointing to a junction. You lose almost 15% of energy in the transfer. Jake nodded. Yeah. We know. We just haven't figured out how to fix it without rebuilding the whole system. What if you bypassed this section and routed the power through a parallel conduit? We thought of that. But the parallel conduits can't handle the heat buildup. Lyria studied the system for a moment. What if you reduce the power flow and split it across 3 conduits instead of 1? The heat would distribute, and you would lose less energy overall. Jake stared at her. He had been working with these engines for 5 years, and he had never thought of that. He pulled out his handheld computer and ran some quick calculations. That might actually work. I'd have to test it, but the numbers look good. I would like to help you test it, Lyria said. You want to help me repair the engine? Why not? I told you, I am interested in how things work. My tutors taught me theory, but I want to learn practical applications. Jake grinned. A princess who wants to get her hands dirty. Your family must love that. They do not. Lyria's patterns dimmed slightly. They think I should focus on politics and diplomacy. They say engineering is not appropriate for someone of my station. That's stupid. You're really good at this. Lyria looked at him with surprise. You think so? You just solved a problem in 5 minutes that our engineers have been working on for months. Yeah, I think you're good at this. Her patterns brightened to that golden glow again. They spent the rest of the morning working together. Jake showed her other systems around the ship. Lyria offered suggestions and asked questions. She was not afraid to climb into tight spaces or handle tools. Once, she got a smear of grease on her face and just laughed about it. Around midday, they were in a maintenance tunnel checking some power lines when Jake realized how comfortable he felt. He was talking to an alien princess, like she was just another crew member. She was lying on her back next to him, holding a light while he worked on a connection panel. Can I ask you something personal? Jake said. Yes. Why are you really here? I mean, why did you come to my room this morning? It wasn't just because I talked in my sleep, was it? Lyria was quiet for a moment. No. That was amusing. But it was not the only reason. She paused. I have spent my entire life surrounded by people who treat me like a title, not a person. They are careful and formal, and they never say what they really think. It is lonely. I never thought about that. Everyone probably thinks being a princess is amazing. It has advantages. But it also has costs. She turned her head to look at him. When I heard you talking in your sleep, you said such honest things. You were not trying to impress me or gain favor. You just said what you felt. I wanted to meet the person who could be that honest. Jake felt his face get warm again. I'm not that special. I just have a broken filter between my brain and my mouth. That is more special than you know. Lyria sat up. I like talking to you. You treat me like a normal person. You argue with me when you think I am wrong. You teach me things without being condescending. You are refreshing. I like talking to you too, Jake admitted. You're the smartest person I've ever met. And you actually care about learning how things work. Not just telling people what to do. They climbed out of the maintenance tunnel and dusted themselves off. Lyria's beautiful robe now had several grease stains. She did not seem to care. I should return to the palace, she said. I have missed 3 formal meetings already. My brother is probably sending search parties. Will you get in trouble? Probably. But it was worth it. She smiled at him. A real, genuine smile that made her patterns glow. Can I come back tomorrow? I want to help you test that power routing idea. Really? You want to come back? Yes, unless you do not want me to. No, I do. I definitely do. I just thought you'd get bored with hanging around a mechanic. I think I will never be bored around you, Jake Morrison. Lyria started walking toward the exit, then paused. One more thing. Yeah? Your room walls are still thin, and I will still be next door. Jake groaned. I'll tie myself to the bed or something. Lyria laughed that musical laugh again. Please do not. I am curious what you will say tonight. She left the ship, her patterns glowing with amusement. Jake stood there for a moment, shaking his head. Then he smiled. This diplomatic mission had turned into something he never expected. He had made a friend, an actual friend who happened to be an alien princess. Someone who liked him for who he was, not despite it. That evening, Jake went back to his room exhausted but happy. He had spent the day doing what he loved, teaching someone who actually wanted to learn. He fell asleep quickly, not thinking about the thin walls or his sleeping habits. Next door, Lyria sat in her room, reading reports that she was supposed to have reviewed during the meetings she missed. But she kept getting distracted, thinking about the day, about the human mechanic who explained engines with such passion, who treated her like an equal, who made her laugh. After a while, she heard it. The soft mumbling through the wall. She's so smart, Jake's sleeping voice said. Figured out that power problem so fast. How does she do that? She's amazing. Lyria set down her reports and moved closer to the wall, listening with a smile. Hope she comes back tomorrow, Jake continued. Working with her was the best day I've had in forever. She actually cares about learning stuff. And she's funny. Did not expect an alien princess to be funny. Lyria's patterns cycled through several colors. Amusement, warmth, and that violet shade again. The one she did not fully understand yet. I like her, Jake's sleeping voice said simply. Lyria stood by the wall for a long time, her patterns glowing softly in the darkness. She liked him too. More than she probably should. More than was appropriate for someone of her station and someone of his. But in that moment, she did not care about appropriate. She just cared that somewhere in the universe, she had found someone honest and kind and real. And tomorrow, she would come back. They would fix engines and solve problems and talk about everything and nothing. She went to bed that night with her patterns still glowing warm colors, thinking about a sleeping human who said the truest things when he was not awake to stop himself. 3 weeks passed, and Jake's life had changed completely. Every day, Princess Lyria came to the ship. Sometimes early in the morning, sometimes late at night, after her official duties. They worked together on various projects. She helped him improve the engines. He taught her about human technology. They talked about everything, from science, to culture, to their favorite foods. The other humans noticed, of course. Danny cornered Jake one morning in the mess hall. "How did you become friends with an alien princess?" "You're just a mechanic. She likes engineering," Jake said simply. "We work well together. Everyone's talking about it." The diplomats are confused. Some of them are jealous. Let them be jealous. Lyria's nice. She's smart. We're friends. But it was more than friendship. And Jake knew it. He just did not know what to do about it. Every day, he looked forward to seeing her. Every conversation made him smile. And every night, he apparently talked about her in his sleep. He knew because she kept mentioning things he said, always with that amused look and glowing patterns. One night, he woke up to find her in his room again. He was getting used to it. She would hear him sleep talking and come over to wake him up before he said too much. "How bad was it tonight?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. "You said I was the best thing that ever happened to you," Lyria said softly. Her patterns were that violet color again. "And that you wished you were worthy of me." Jake's heart sank. "I'm sorry. I know that makes you uncomfortable." "It does not make me uncomfortable." She sat on the edge of his bed. "It makes me think. About many things." "Like what?" "Like how I have never met anyone like you. Like how I look forward to our time together more than anything else in my day. Like how my patterns turn violet around you." "What does violet mean?" Lyria hesitated. "In my culture, violet is rare. It means recognition of a deep connection. A soul bond, we call it. It happens when two people understand each other on a fundamental level." Jake's breath caught. "And your patterns are violet around me?" "Yes. I have tried to stop it. It is not appropriate. You are human. I am Velkari. I am royalty. You are a mechanic. By all social standards, we should not even be friends. But we are friends." "Yes." She looked at him, her large eyes reflecting the soft glow of her patterns. "But I think I want more than friendship. And that is complicated." Before Jake could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the building, loud and urgent. They both jumped up. "What's happening?" Jake asked. A Velkari guard burst into the hallway outside. "Princess Lyria! There is an emergency. The demonstration tomorrow has been sabotaged. You must come immediately." They rushed to the main conference room where diplomats and officials were gathering. The head human diplomat, Ambassador Craig, looked stressed. "Someone tampered with the demonstration equipment, the joint technology display we were going to present tomorrow. It's been rigged to fail. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you." "How bad?" Jake asked. "Bad enough that it will look like human technology is incompetent and dangerous. It could destroy the alliance before it truly begins." Prince Kale, Lyria's older brother, was there. He looked angry. "Some of our people do not want this alliance. They think humans are too primitive. This is their way of proving it." "Can we fix it?" Lyria asked. "We do not have time," the Velkari chief engineer said. "The demonstration is in 12 hours. The sabotage is complex. It would take days to repair." 7. The Velkari. The two. Velkari. The Velkari. Chief Engineer. "Or we could prove the sabotage," Jake said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. "If we can show that it was deliberately tampered with, that changes everything. It's not human incompetence. It's sabotage by people who don't want the alliance." Ambassador Craig nodded slowly. "That's true. But can we prove it?" "Maybe." Jake looked at Lyria. "If we work together." For the next 8 hours, Jake and Lyria examined every part of the damaged demonstration equipment. It was a system designed to show how human and Velkari technology could work together. Power systems, communication relays, Environmental controls. Someone had carefully altered multiple components to make them fail in ways that would look like design flaws rather than sabotage. This is clever, Lyria said, studying a power coupling. They made it look like a human compatibility error. But it's not, Jake said, pointing to microscopic marks on the component. These tool marks are from Valkyrie equipment. Human tools would leave different patterns. They documented everything, taking photos and readings. As dawn approached, they had a clear picture of the sabotage. Multiple systems had been altered by someone with advanced knowledge and access to Valkyrie tools. We know what happened, Jake said. But we still don't know who. Lyria studied their findings. Only a few Valkyrie engineers would have this level of access and knowledge, and only during specific time windows when security was changed. She pulled up schedule records. Here. 3 names. They were all on duty when the equipment was accessible. Can we prove which one did it? Not without presenting this to the council. And there is a problem. Lyria looked worried. You have no official standing. You are not a diplomat or scientist. The council may not accept findings from a mechanic. Jake's heart sank. So we found the proof. But nobody will listen to me. I will listen to you. Prince Kael entered the room. He had been watching from the doorway. And I have standing to present findings to the council. Brother, why are you here? Lyria asked. I have been watching you two work together these past weeks. I wanted to see what my sister found so interesting about this human. Kael looked at Jake with respect. You are good at what you do, and you are honest. Those are qualities I value. Will you help us present this to the council? Lyria asked. I will do more than that. I will invoke the old law. Lyria, you can name Jake as your technical champion. Someone who speaks for you on matters of expertise. It is an ancient tradition, but it still stands. If I do that, he will be questioned by the entire council. Opposed by those who want the alliance to fail. I can handle it, Jake said. Are you sure? They will try to discredit you. They will say you are not qualified. Maybe I'm not qualified by their standards, but I'm qualified to know sabotage when I see it, and I'm qualified to tell the truth. He looked at her. You taught me that honesty matters, that being direct and real is more important than being politically careful. Let me use that. Lyria's patterns glowed bright with that violet color. Then I name you my champion. We present our findings together. The council meeting 3 hours later was the most intimidating experience of Jake's life. The chamber was enormous. Filled with important Valkyrie officials, the human diplomats sat on one side, looking nervous. Jake stood in the center, with Lyria beside him. Crown Prince Davith, the eldest sibling, spoke first. This is unusual, sister. You name a human mechanic as your champion? I do. Jake Morrison has expertise in practical systems. He has worked with me to uncover sabotage. Alleged sabotage, an older Valkyrie counselor said. It was not, Jake said clearly. His voice echoed in the chamber. For the next hour, Jake presented their findings. He showed the tool marks, the access logs, the pattern of failures. He explained in simple, direct language exactly what had been done and how. When counselors tried to interrupt or confuse him with technical jargon, he stayed calm and focused. You say this was sabotage, Davith said. But you are not an expert in our technology. No, I'm not. But I'm an expert in sabotage. I know what it looks like when someone tries to make a failure seem natural. And this was deliberate. Why should we trust the word of a mechanic over our own engineers? Lyria stepped forward. Because he is honest. He has no political agenda. He just wants to find the truth. Prince Kael stood as well. I have reviewed their findings. The evidence is sound. 3 engineers had access during the critical time frame. We should question them. The council argued for another hour. Finally, they agreed to bring in the 3 suspects. One of them, an older engineer named Torak, broke under questioning. He admitted to the sabotage, claiming he did it because he believed humans were dangerous and the alliance was a mistake. The chamber erupted in angry voices. But Ambassador Craig stood up. We appreciate the truth coming to light. This shows that both our peoples have those who fear change. But it also shows we can work together to find truth. A human and a Valkyrie, working as partners, uncovered this plot. The council dismissed the case. Torak was arrested. The demonstration was postponed for repairs, and Jake and Lyria left the chamber together, exhausted but successful. You did well, Lyria said as they walked back toward the ship. You spoke with courage. I was terrified. I know. But you did not let it stop you. She stopped walking and turned to face him. Jake Morrison, you asked earlier what I have been thinking about. I will tell you now. I have been thinking that I do not care about appropriate or complicated. I have feelings for you. Real feelings. And I think you have feelings for me. Jake's heart was racing. I do. I have since the first day I saw you. But you're a princess, and I'm nobody. You are not nobody. You are brave, and honest, and kind. You see me as a person, not a title. And that means everything. Your family will never accept this. My people will think I'm crazy, perhaps. But I am tired of living for everyone else's expectations. Her patterns glowed bright violet and gold. I want to live for myself. And I want to see where this goes. If you want that too. Jake looked at this amazing, brilliant, beautiful person who somehow cared about him. All his life, he had fixed things, machines and systems and problems, but he had never imagined he could be part of something like this. Something real, and honest, and possible. Yeah, he said. I want that too. Lyria smiled, and her patterns lit up the hallway like stars. The days after the council meeting were strange. Jake and Lyria had admitted their feelings, but neither of them knew exactly what to do next. They still worked together every day. They still talked for hours. But now there was something new between them. An understanding. A possibility. The other humans noticed the change. Ambassador Craig pulled Jake aside one morning. The princess seems quite fond of you. I guess so, sir. That could be very good for the alliance. Or very complicated. Are you prepared for either outcome? Honestly, I have no idea. I'm just a mechanic who somehow ended up in the middle of something way bigger than me. Craig smiled. Sometimes the best diplomacy happens between regular people, not official channels. Just be careful. And be honest. I think that's what got you this far. The Valkyrie court was less accepting. Jake heard whispers when he walked through the palace corridors. Some Valkyrie looked at him with curiosity. Others, with disapproval. He was the human who had exposed their sabotage, the mechanic who had earned a princess's favor. One evening, as Jake was working on repairs in the ship's engine room, Prince David appeared. The Crown Prince rarely came to the human areas. His presence made the few crew members nearby nervous. Jake Morrison, David said formally. I wish to speak with you. Of course, Your Highness. Jake set down his tools and wiped his hands. David looked around the engine room with barely concealed distaste. My sister spends much time here. I wanted to understand why. She likes learning how things work. She's really good at it too. She is royalty. She should not be working with her hands like a common laborer. Jake felt a flash of anger but kept his voice calm. With respect, she's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Why shouldn't she use that? Why should her birth determine what she's allowed to do? You question our ways? I'm just saying that Lyria has gifts. Real gifts. Seems like a waste to ignore them because of tradition. Trote. David was quiet for a moment. You care for her. It was not a question. Jake nodded. Yes. She cares for you as well. I see it in her patterns. The violet color she shows around you. David's expression softened slightly. I am not here to forbid anything. I am here to warn you. Our culture has strict rules about royal relationships. Many will oppose this, including our father. I know, Lyria told me. Will you give up? Because it is difficult? No. Will you try to stop us? No. Davith surprised him with a small smile. I have watched you these past weeks. You are honest and brave. You make my sister happy. She laughs more now. She seems more herself. He paused. But happiness is not always enough. You must be prepared for challenges. Quote, Imunda. 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 I don't care about challenges. I care about her. Then prove it. Not to me. To everyone who will doubt you. Davith turned to leave, then stopped. And Jake Morrison? Keep making her laugh. She deserves that. That night, Jake could not sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the glowing ceiling, thinking about everything. He was falling in love with an alien princess. It sounded like a bad story someone would make up. But it was real. She was real. And somehow, impossibly, she felt the same way. He must have dozed off eventually because he woke to soft laughter. He opened his eyes to find Lyria sitting beside his bed, her patterns glowing with amusement. Again, he groaned. Again, she confirmed. You said that I make you want to be better, that you would learn everything you could so you could be worthy of me. Jake covered his face with his hands. Why do I keep doing this? Because you are honest, even in sleep. She gently pulled his hands away. And you should know. You do not need to be worthy of me. You already are. I'm a mechanic. You're a princess. You are a person who sees me for who I am. That is more valuable than any title. She looked at him seriously. Jake, I spoke with my father today. I told him about you. Jake sat up quickly. What did he say? He was not pleased. He said our relationship is inappropriate, that it could complicate the alliance, that I should focus on my duties. Jake's heart sank. I did not say that. Lyria's patterns glowed brighter. I told him that I am 28 years old, by your Earth counting, that I am old enough to make my own choices, that you are a good person who has helped our people by exposing the sabotage, and that I intend to continue our relationship, whether he approves or not. You stood up to your father? For me? For us? For the right to choose my own path. She took his hand. Her skin was warm and smooth. He was not happy, but Prince Kale supported me. And eventually, my father agreed that he would not forbid it. But he warned that others will try to separate us. Let them try. Lyria smiled. You sound very confident. I've been thinking about something. You know what the best thing about being human is? We don't give up easy. We're stubborn. Sometimes it gets us in trouble, but sometimes it lets us do impossible things. Like fall in love with an alien princess? Exactly like that. They sat together in comfortable silence. Then Lyria said, I have an idea. The alliance negotiations will continue for months. What if you stayed here? Not as part of the crew, but as my technical advisor. It is a real position. You would help me with engineering projects. We could work together officially. Would that work? Would people accept it? Prince Kale thinks it would. It gives us a legitimate reason to spend time together, and you would genuinely be helpful. I have many projects I want to work on. Jake thought about it. Staying on an alien world. Working with Lyria. Building something new. It was scary. But it was also the most exciting thing he could imagine. Yeah, he said. Let's do it. The next weeks were busy. Jake officially transferred from the Horizon's Edge crew to become Princess Lyria's technical advisor. The human diplomats were confused, but supportive. The Valkyrie court was suspicious but could not really object. It was a legitimate position, after all. Jake and Lyria worked on several projects together. They designed a new power system that combined human and Velkari technology. They created educational programs to help both species understand each other's engineering approaches. They spent hours in workshops and labs, covered in grease and excited about their discoveries, but they also spent time just being together. Walking in the palace gardens, talking about their lives and dreams, learning about each other's cultures. Lyria taught Jake about Velkari history and customs. Jake told her about Earth, about mountains and oceans, and all the things he wanted to show her someday. One night, 2 months after they met, they sat together in the garden under 2 moons. Lyria's patterns glowed softly in the darkness. Jake had learned to read them now. Gold meant happiness, blue meant calm. Violet meant that deep connection she had talked about. Right now, she was showing all 3 colors at once. "Do you ever regret it?" Lyria asked. "Giving up your old life for this?" "Never. This is the best thing that ever happened to me, even though it is difficult, even though people judge us, especially because of that. It means we're doing something real, something that matters." He took her hand. "You know what I think? I think the universe brought us together for a reason, maybe to help our people work together, maybe just because we needed each other. Either way, I'm glad I talked in my sleep that first night." Lyria laughed. "I am glad too, though you still do it. You know, every few nights, I hear you through the wall. What do I say now? You say that you love me." She looked at him, her large eyes reflecting starlight. "Do you? Love me?" "Oh, love me." Jake's heart was pounding. This was it. The moment of complete honesty. "Yes, I love you. I think I loved you from the first day I saw you. I just didn't know it yet. I love you too," Lyria said softly. Her patterns blazed with brilliant violet light. "My honest, brave, wonderful human." They kissed under the alien stars. It felt right and natural and perfect. 2 people from different worlds, brought together by accident and honesty, and the simple truth that sometimes the most unlikely connections are the strongest ones. Later, back in his room, Jake fell asleep with a smile on his face. Next door, Lyria sat by the wall, listening with affection as he started his usual sleep-talking. "Love her so much," his sleeping voice mumbled. "Luckiest guy in the universe. Never thought someone like her could love someone like me. But she does. She really does." Lyria pressed her hand against the wall, her patterns glowing warm and bright. She had recordings of all his sleep-talking now. Dozens of hours of pure, unfiltered honesty. His unconscious mind telling her things his waking mind was sometimes too shy to say. "Going to spend my life with her," Jake's voice continued. "Going to learn everything I can. Going to make her proud. Going to show everyone that this can work. Humans and Velkari. Me and her. All of it." Lyria went to her desk and began writing. A proposal for a new joint Human-Velkari Engineering Institute. A place where both species could learn from each other. A place where she and Jake could work together officially, building something that would last beyond them. She had found something she never expected to find. Love. Yes. But also purpose. Partnership. A future that excited her more than any royal duty ever had. In the morning, they would present the proposal to the council. Prince Kael had already agreed to support it. Even Davith had grudgingly admitted it was a good idea. The human diplomats were enthusiastic. There would still be opposition. Still be people who thought a princess and a mechanic should not be together. Still be challenges to face, but they would face them together. 2 people who had learned that honesty was stronger than protocol. That love could bridge worlds. That sometimes, the most beautiful things in the universe came from the most unexpected places. Like an alien princess discovering a human talking about her in his sleep, and choosing to laugh, instead of walking away. Choosing to listen, instead of judging. Choosing to love, instead of following rules. Jake woke the next morning feeling more rested than ever. He found a note slipped under his door in Lyria's handwriting. It said simply, "You talked again last night. If you pot of his night. If you pot of his note. Little summa though. You said you want to spend your life with me. Good. Because I want to spend mine with you. Also, we have a meeting with the council this afternoon. Wear something, without grease stains. Love, L." Jake laughed. He got ready, putting on his cleanest clothes. When he met Lyria in the hallway, her patterns lit up with joy. "Ready to change the world?" she asked. "With you?" "Always." They walked together toward the council chamber. Hand in hand, patterns and skin touching. Two people from different worlds building something new. Something honest. Something real. And somewhere in the universe, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating the impossible becoming possible. One honest moment at a time.